Hello, and welcome to Chaotic Subversion at the Country Club. My name is Ebube, and you are listening to Popcorn for Dinner. As a podcast dedicated to analyzing everything worth watching, we love checking out new things, and we love finding shows and movies that push storytelling forward. The only problem is there's only so much we can discuss on a weekly basis while keeping our sanity intact. Is it intact? Well, having said that, with our spring season coming to an eventful close, we wanted to take some time to make sure certain shows didn't fly under the radar for, well, you. You deserve to know what's worth watching. It's why you're here, and we appreciate you for it. Today, what's worth watching is Beef, the thrilling dark comedy anthology from Lee Sung-jin about what happens when people don't let things go. The first season was an absolute breakout of a smash hit. It won 8 Emmys, 3 Golden Globes, and 4 Critics' Choice Awards. It is an absolute roller coaster of a show, and quite frankly, my personal best viewing experience on Netflix in literal years. So, with season 2 having just ended recently, we're going to give this show our full attention and talk about what makes it so great, as well as how strongly season 2 stacks up to the original outing from 3 years ago. So I will start by triumphantly stating that AJ and Soonen are here together at the same time, and because of that, we all win. So, hi guys. Do you happen to know any good plastic surgeons?
Oh.
What you try to get, bro? You try to get that BBL finally.
Well, I mean, I can think of at least one person who would not want me to do that. But yeah, man, it is very cool to have you guys both here. This show is wild, and I think a show like this requires level-headed people to discuss. So
because the characters are not level-headed. That's
nobody is level-headed in this show. Not one person. Like it's actually insane in both seasons. And of course, we'll get into season comparisons. But I guess just as we jump in, what were your first impressions of season 2?
AJ?
I think everyone needed therapy.
Okay.
They all needed to separate.
They also needed premarital counseling, but that's another story altogether.
They oh my goodness. Yeah, they actually
it's necessary. If this show tells you, and if you learn nothing else from this show, learn that you should do premarital counseling.
Before getting married.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was a great season, man. Season 2 was amazing. Everyone needs therapy as usual. And more than that, everyone just needs universal health care, man. That's really what this show is about, man.
Let's actually start there.
Everyone needs universal health care for the therapy and for everything else. And like this story wouldn't have happened at all.
Yeah, that's true. And
there'll be no beef.
There'll be no beef.
There'll be no beef. And it feeds directly into one of the major themes of the show, which is class divides. But before we jump in, I just want to point out to everybody that, like I said, our spring season is over. We have just finished covering For All Mankind's 5th season, which was amazing. I always like to say that is the best show you're not watching. So please check that out. We've also finished covering The Boys, which has ended. The Boys season 5 is the final season of the show, and we had a lot to say about that. Osegele and I talked about the finale, and well, we had thoughts. And of course, we have a few things coming down the pipeline as the summer season starts, but we'll get to that. For now, though, let's talk about those class divides. I really feel like this show does an amazing job of letting you know how the haves and have-nots operate differently in society. In fact, there's this amazing book. I forget the name of the guy who wrote it right now, but it explores class divides in America and how capitalism has made us all obsessed with wealth and the hero worship of billionaires who generally are not heroes if you know anything about anything. But again, different conversation. that book is called The Haves and Have-Yachts, and it is pretty cool how they get into all the different things that we focus on that essentially distract us from what's actually important. So in this particular show, we have different people with different levels of wealth interacting, and some of the best stories, of course, are you take 6 different people who have nothing to do with each other and all have different motivations. You put them into a room and see what happens. At that point, the best series tend to just write themselves. And this show is no exception to that, because looking at season 1, we had somebody who was wealthy by her own means, marrying somebody who grew up wealthy, and getting into a clash, to put it politely, with somebody who did not have much, who maybe was on his way to getting something resembling stable status, and then it all came crashing down. And that drives season 1 in an interesting way. Season 2, we see different levels of wealth interacting in an environment that is suited to wealth. And, it makes me think about what this show is truly about, right? I think there's so much to discuss, but I think in a way we could say that this show is an exploration of how unchecked capitalism and the financial anxiety that comes with, that particular situation. And again, these are two things that absolutely and ironically feed each other, how these two things warp human relationships. At season 2's core, the show is about how relationships change over time, especially when external forces are involved. So we're exploring how couples often get trapped in cycles of trading genuine, emotional intimacy for stability, status, and even transactional convenience. And like I said, it demonstrates why premarital counseling is an absolute necessity. But, with all that in mind, how do we navigate those class divides, and how does the show actually do a good job of presenting to us a world full of people that we actually feel are real?
It does that in very interesting ways in the relationship between characters. One of the most interesting relationships where it does that is the relationship between Josh, that's our, Oscar Isaac's character.
Oscar Isaac, the GOAT.
The GOATs. Great job during this season, by the way. And Troy, his friend / member of the club. I know.
Mi
Whenever
amigo.
he would say that,
bruh.
mi amigo, it was like grinding in my ears. If you're a person of color listening to this podcast, you are very familiar with that. I don't know how to describe it. It's not.
Let's call it friendly
aggression.
microaggressions.
The friendly microaggression. It's like, hey, what's up, brother? Or hey, what be I mean? You know exactly what I'm talking
AJ,
about.
Yeah, I'm not saying shiggy. Okay. My God.
No, I have, but that's so funny.
It's like that over familiarity. Like you're doing all that, and then there's always that switch when it goes from you're not my friend, you're my employee.
Literally,
where it's like
you work for me.
I've been waiting this amount of time for my drink. What's up with that? And then you see in the end
that you are actually the help.
Yes. And then in the end, you see how he talks about Oscar Isaac's character. It's like, after all we did for him.
We did for him. He's
after
stealing
all
from
we
us.
did for him.
Stealing
Can you imagine?
from us. You can kind of see that divide right there as well. Even though this guy, does kind stuff for him, sometimes has come through for him in very big ways. It's you can still see that. You also see that with Austin and his friend who is rich as well. Where the friend is like, oh, I'm in Dubai, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, I'll call you. We'll set up for another day. Almost very casually dismissive. It's the exact same thing. Those people who, are friends, but you can see that divide and how it affects even those friendships.
Yeah, shout out to Charles Milton.
Yeah.
Excellent performance.
Yeah,
man.
I feel he keeps impressing me because I know how he sounds in real life. I know how he acts in real life. I mean, not that I know him personally, but I've seen him in
But you've seen
interviews.
him in
But then
yeah.
I go see like movies or even shows where he's on, and I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
is this the same person?
Where did you first see
It
him?
goes to show.
I first saw him in Riverdale, but where did you first see him?
I first saw him in that really twisted Netflix series. I guess was based on real life with the school
was it
teacher.
May, December? May,
December. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Because
May,
I saw he
December.
did so excellent. I feel like he deserved all the awards that year. I can't remember. Because I think were they even nominated? Or no, they weren't because of the controversy behind the show itself. But I just thought he did so well. But then that's an aside. Charles Melton is great. But about the show itself, he is such a drag, like a people pleaser, like a simp in his relationship, but also like I don't know what the word is. It's escaping me. A simp.
She went for the jugular.
Society.
Is a people is just is a people
pleaser. Like he can't stand his ground in his relationship and in society. So there's that, and then we see Uchi on the other side of the spectrum. We see Josh, so Oscar Isaac, and he's just so selfish. Like he will do anything just to get his way. Because when she said, "Oh, I use my savings to pay for your mom's medical bills and everything," I say, "Oh, and you are still here. You don't have." She essentially doesn't have a career. She's just literally passing time at the what's it called, the country club, trying to do whatever she can do because obviously he manages it. But in terms of like her life goals and whatever she planned for herself, she wasn't having any of that. So to make that kind of sacrifice for him and his mom, they were probably married at that point, but for her to now be still living big but still so empty, and even within this, the guy is still scamming, they're in debt, but she doesn't really know. So it's like, oh my God, like, oh, the men in this TV, like, sorry, this season, they were I'm so sorry, quite disappointing.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense, man. That makes so much sense.
I was going to say, though, wasn't there something that happened with his mom and Lindsay where she didn't, like, get some results on time or something? So I don't know if necessarily all of that was purely freely given or there was some guilt there as well too. But yeah, I agree that relationship had definitely become just a ball of resentment and unfulfilled dreams. His unfulfilled dreams of being a musician, her unfulfilled dreams of having children, and their house literally representing all of those unfulfilled dreams around them.
It's amazing, right? You can tell when a show is written by somebody who is so media literate. Like the symbolism in this show is incredible. You have all these little things that are pointing to stuff. You have foreshadowing. You have characters seeing themselves in each other in ways that then prompt the audience to notice things that they would not have otherwise. And you know what? I'm glad that you brought up Josh's dreams. Let's talk about his musical aspirations and apparently his lifelong desire to play with Hot Chip. So, which, by the way, if anybody missed that, Hot Chip is an English synth pop band. And
have you listened to them since the show? I haven't. Have you?
I listened a little bit, and I was just like, okay. I mean, this seems like what Josh would like.
But he seemed like he was really into it. So
and it's interesting to me that, you know, he has all this stuff at home. Like, he has musical instruments at home. He has a Logic Pro license. Like, I mean, this guy's out here producing music when he's high. He's producing music in his spare time. He's trying stuff out. He's showing it to, you know, his girl, quote unquote, and she's not necessarily that interested in it. And, you know, it makes me wonder, right? You know, going back to something you just said, Soonen, you know, why is it that he chooses of all the different ways he could have addressed this situation, of all the different ways he could have tried to change the situation, fix things, why does he choose to embezzle above all else? Like, why is that his way out? when he has,
It's
all these different things. He has these talents. He has, relationships that he's trying to build with people like Troy, despite all their nonsense. He has access to, power and influence in so many ways, but he still feels so trapped.
Well, I think he's partly also trapped due to the blackmail from the Gen Zers on him as well.
Gen Z.
Shout out to my Gen Zers, man.
Okay.
This show actually, we'll circle back
the
to
generational
that
divides as well as class
conflict.
divides, right?
But yeah, I think partly why he turned to the embezzling was, partly because of Troy, throwing it in his face that, oh, look at us rich people. Look how we get around the system with the buy, borrow, die loophole. And then you also have the pressure coming from the Gen Zers asking him to do this and that, do crazy things so that he doesn't get outed for he and his wife having an argument, which, if it was me, I'd be like, I beg, post the video.
In all honesty, it tells you about the insecurity of their relationship. Because if they had come together, they probably could have found so many ways to spin that video, judging by the way they already live their lives. But then they're like, no, we can't have our bubble burst,
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. But also, with the club being taken over by the Korean syndicates as well.
We'll get to the Koreans.
But yeah,
you calling them a syndicates?
No. I mean, like multi-corporation. No,
but it's true though. It's true. It's actually true.
Hey man.
So
Shout
funny.
out to all my Koreans, man. I don't want no smoke, man. No, at all, man.
That's amazing, bro.
Yeah, but he was under a lot of pressure, which whenever he would talk with his sister, she would kind of echo that, like, what's going on? Like, you're under. He put a lot of pressure on himself too, and that seemed to finally be his way out.
Yeah, I agree. And them trying to figure new roads in their relationship as well, like that's kind of symptomatic of this too, right? So because Josh and Lindsay have this argument at the beginning, you can tell that this relationship is not healthy. You can tell that there is no intimacy as well, which is a big thing that drives their divide. And again, if they had done premarital counseling, they would have told them about this thing. But anyway, anyway, Josh and Lindsay, it's interesting to me that, they think they'll start their own resort. And I feel like that whole delusion is such a good representation of their relationship, because they underestimate the difficulty at every turn and they aren't at all ready to do the work. Like, they're just not ready to do the work. And it shows in the house they already have. You guys want to start a resort. You haven't even finished building your house. Like this, why am I seeing drywall in your kitchen? It's interesting, right? Because they are figuring out all these different ways that they can kind of be one, but they're only trying to be one for the plot. They're trying to be one because they want to signal togetherness, because they want to signal stability, because that helps Josh in his career, which then helps Lindsay feel more seen and influential. It's just a cycle of lies. And that's a problem, right? Because then it turns into this whole leverage thing with the video. And it actually makes me think about the hospital episode. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That hospital episode is actually titled the comfort, the inexpressible comforts. And it's hilarious, obviously, because the episode is filled to the brim with discomfort. And I think that Ashley knows, that if she hadn't been so spiteful with Josh, I think she knows deep down that if she wasn't spiteful, the situation might not have turned out so dire in terms of, her collapsing and, ending up with that very, very tragic diagnosis. Though, to be fair, him holding back his doctor as leverage is quite something, to say the least. It tells you what people are willing to do to get ahead. Is wild. And
But I mean, how much of that is the system, right?
It's also the system, but you see,
creating an environment where that's what you feel like you need to do to get ahead.
Yeah, but to kind of lord that level of power, because he felt like she was lording new power over him.
Was she
at the beginning though? Was she truly at the beginning?
I feel she was, but not as maliciously as Josh was. It was more so, oh, I have something against you, like a little cute something against you. But he's like, yeah, I would hold good health care from you until you get, like, it's, the levels are like
that is
insane.
callous.
Because honestly, he didn't even in some ways he knew, okay, bro, she's literally in the ER right now. She's in pain. She hurt herself. She literally almost lost her life. And you're saying, yeah, delete the video before I send my guides to you. Like, what? And her being Gen Z and silly, flowers and butterflies in her head, she had this huge card to play, but she didn't know how like huge of a card she had. Because I'm like, you literally have it against this guy. You can literally say, if you don't get this guy to me right now, I will share this to all staff and it will continue growing.
True.
But they were so like naive and just soft and gentle, even when they wanted to be evil. And then Josh is like, oh, I will show you. And he held back his... I'm like, whoa, that's so twisted. Because imagine the guy came 2 hours earlier.
She could have saved her ovary,
Yeah.
She did lose her ovary because of him.
Which is wild. Like, that's such a permanent consequence.
On top of video.
On top of video.
Like, oh my God.
I mean, it just goes back to like the fact that this poor girl had no access to healthcare.
Yeah.
And even when she did get access to healthcare after all of this, even with the insurance that she got from this job, they still owed like what, $27,000.
Such a wild number.
Oh my God. And you see, okay, circling back to how naive these people are, then they go, oh, maybe we can cancel some subscriptions. No, it is $27,000. Netflix is 17.
When you said that,
haven't we all been there? Haven't we all been there,
bro?
When the numbers are adding up at the end of the month, and you're like, do I really need this streaming platform? Do I really need Criterion Collection?
Didn't you get 3 jobs? Walmart, McDonald's, plus the country club. They needed more than Netflix. I'm just like, these people are... And what throws me off is that he was 29 and she was like 27, 28.
They seem a lot younger than they were.
I thought they were like, the new Gen Zs.
You thought they were like 23.
23,
no, but to be honest, I don't know, maybe this comes from being out of home for a very long time. But like, 29. They didn't seem 29 and 27. They seemed like 25 and 20.
Quite honestly, yeah, I was a little surprised when I heard the 29 thing. I was just like, bruh, like you guys are this delusional. You have not seen life yet. Because it's wild, because we obviously see at the end what they become once they have seen Shiggy. And we'll get to that eventually, right? But I have to say, speaking on this whole class divide and generational divide thing, Ashley herself, like, she gets a taste of the good life and immediately starts to push it. Like, because
soft cookie, right? Get me
like that soft cookie thing. I was like, okay,
soft cookie, like, can you heat it up? I said, oh, sorry.
I was like, sis, okay. And the funny thing is that the show uses that kind of behavior as, these comedic cringe moments. A fair bit. Like, it reminds me of, for example, in season 1, when Edwin is thanking Danny for fixing the church sign, and then immediately starts telling him, it's a little crooked. Man, I wanted to punch that guy. I mean, it's such a wild thing. And season 1 obviously had, even deeper expansions as well to stuff like religion and how, community formed through, religious beliefs actually affects or doesn't affect certain people who are in these situations where there's, the titular beef. And while we're talking about Ashley, I just have to ask you guys, she was the villain, right? Like, I mean, she's the closest thing this show this season had to a villain. Like,
I disagree. If there's a villain, it's probably Chairwoman Park.
No, guarantee. But it's
bro,
more so like
they were the ones disturbing her.
Yeah, but she covered up a murder, man.
That is fair.
Bro, say that's fair. She covered up a murder, bro.
That's fair, but bro, Ashley, she made everyone's situation worse.
Worse. Like, when you really trace it back, let's even start
for the most selfish reasons.
She wanted to scam them a fake certificate. He said he does not want. She said,
literally.
No, but then we can just do it. That's okay. That's fine.
Oh, you're talking about Austin not wanting to be a personal
trainer. Do the PT job. And then she's like, let's go out for dinner with, what's her name, Eunice and everything. And then they're talking and bonding over, shared heritage. And she's just there looking at him like,
Well, and I knew he was always going to end up with me.
Next thing you know, she literally, because of her abandonment issues, she jumps off the car. She goes to the hospital. That's where she ruined everything for herself. Next thing you know, she's in pain and frustration that, it's because Josh did not send his guy, which was bad, honestly, but that wouldn't have happened if she wasn't so insecure. But then she goes to their house now, leaves the door open, and now we lose Burberry.
And then she's joining to look for Burberry, by the way, as if... And need I mention the flash drive? Soonen. The flash drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
The flash drive.
She literally
she was violent. She was violent.
She's like, oh my God, no, I haven't left.
She said, I swear on our unborn children.
What?
Yeah, I know what she is.
Yeah.
She's evil. When I saw, because honestly, I started believing, I'm like, okay, maybe it fell somewhere and they will show us later down in the episode. But when she dropped it throughout, through the hole, I'm like, yeah.
I was like, I knew it. I did not want to allow it. I said, I don't believe her. I do not believe her.
And she was going to use it for her own benefit, knowing
we're dying.
That people were dying. This is what I'm saying. And she was going to use it for her own benefit. I'm like, no, which pass which? Because this baby is evil. Chairwoman Park is she's rich. I will validate it, it's all good. People like you are.
But in the end, she's kind of the run of the mill. This is what you expect from somebody.
Yeah, this is what you expect from billionaires.
Basically, no, how did we get here? And I feel she even till this day, if she's a real person, she'll still say, no, it's the system. The system was built against me. I have to fight and do all of these things. But I'm like, no, you're just a terrible person.
And the irony of that is that both things are true. She is terrible and the system sucks.
And also, she didn't have she kind of got messed up by her family too. Every single time she would try and talk to them, they would just ignore her. That's probably where those abandonment issues
Austin told her, right? Your parents divorced when you were a baby and then went on to start separate lives completely without you.
Families. Not to put my therapist hat on.
Put it on.
But then again, she is 27, 28. At some point, you need to start figuring things out for yourself.
Absolutely.
You cannot keep
things
on
have to kind of
on,
stop being it was my parents' fault.
Yeah, literally, sometimes you have to hold yourself accountable and try to change. I feel she never confronted that fact, or maybe she did, but she will always suppress it, or she'll process it in such a way where it's she would explode and literally jump out of a car. So when Austin, the one person she was banking on for, that support and emotional safety, her safety nets, told her, girlie, you have abandonment issues, she literally broke down. But I'm like, no, you're reaching 30, these are things you should have figured out before even attempting to marry someone. Because that marriage is going to... Honestly, when they had said, oh, we've never actually argued before.
I was like,
I said, okay, cool.
That's
I know what this show is going to be about.
What was you guys' first reaction to that? Because, I can imagine so many people watch this with, their significant other, their wife, their husband, their girlfriend, their boyfriend, all kinds of things, right? And you're hearing, oh, we've never argued. And you see him looking at Reddit. It's like, yo, is that normal? When I saw him looking at Reddit,
Yeah.
I was actually laughing because I was
real,
like, bro,
man.
you
That's
don't know
real.
anything yet.
When I
That's real.
saw him, a 29-year-old on Reddit asking, fiance, me, fiance never fights. Normal. I don't even think it was a full-on sentence. I'm like, ew.
That's how people look
Ew.
stuff
But
up,
that's
man.
but,
That's
but
real.
that's even
That's
No,
another
but
real.
it's
thing,
like
right?
there was this, like, Austin was just like a child. He was
And that's the
a
problem.
child in an
And that-
adult body.
That's what I'm getting at.
but-
Like, he did not have sufficient male role models, which is another problem that the show kind of highlights here. Because he starts to sort of find that in Josh, or at least Josh tries to be that for him a little bit. And even he's like, okay, what the heck? Like, this is weird. But in the end,
he
Austin
did say
kept
he had no
people
one to
pleasing
talk
because he was
to
like a baby.
about some of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You
It-
guys, his consistent use of ChatGPT. Wow.
Oh yes, I actually wrote that down. I was like,
Wow.
ChatGPT. But
He's like, Bofu, I got you.
I got
Bofu,
you.
crazy. Yeah, I've done it before. And I'm just like,
but that is real. So many people are going around faking expertise using these large
ChatGPT.
It's
yes.
true. Just ask
Yes.
anyone who interviews candidates for jobs. Literally, they will
Yes,
tell you
ask
it's literally
anyone who
the worst
interviews
thing
candidates.
in their
Mhm.
work day. Like, they can tell when somebody doesn't know anything. It's like now you even have some virtual interviews where they're like trying to watch part of your screen just to see that you're not looking things up. They're looking at the reflections in your eyes.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a wild
Absolutely.
landscape that we've reached now.
No.
Yeah, I think that the show does well about kind of showing like how that has become a part of, our lives and how that bleeds into relationships. To be honest, I'm surprised that he didn't even ask the thing about his relationship troubles, because
Right.
that's what people do right now. People talk to these large language models and ask them, give them details about their lives and everything. But I think it was really funny that they incorporated him using that. Another gag that killed me was, I have a high basal metabolic rate.
Oh, God.
Charles Melton is
Yo.
comedic timing.
He's
amazing.
not a real person.
He's so funny. Oh my God.
Bruh,
Like, Austin is so like,
oh wow, man. Like,
Oh, man.
actually, I remember when he was trying to quit the job, when he said, nah, I'm in over my head. And that whole scene that he had where he's like trying to show contrition and he's trying to leave the job, but he can't really because of the Eunice of it all. And oh my God, I have
Yeah.
thoughts on Eunice. because
yeah.
because watching this show and looking at Eunice, who is like, for someone like Austin, who doesn't know anything about anything, including himself,
Mhm.
someone like Eunice is exactly what he believes he should have in life. Somebody who like can do all the thinking for him. Somebody who he can just like aspire to, even when he has her. It's like you're looking at her as something to win, as something that maybe you don't even deserve. It actually reminded me a little bit of the son from Parasite and how he was chasing certain things. In fact, it's amazing because Bong Joon-ho's storytelling techniques, some of the best ones, we even see them in this show, and I feel like this idea of a desire, this idea of aspiration, this idea of self-actualization is something that the show really puts forward and shows different aspects of in all of the characters. And Charles Melton's performance of Austin here is so good because it's like it's like he could have been a kid in a candy store, but it's more than that. He's like a kid in a candy store who doesn't even know if he can have candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, what happened to Eunice, by the way?
I mean, also, just to say Austin's behavior, his mom literally calls it out on the phone, which is, I hate you when you were young. So you go out there and you try and please everyone. I was thinking that would be his breakthrough moments, but he just goes right back into it, seeking that validation. And when he doesn't get it from Eunice, he throws away all his supposed
that
ideals.
I love you at the end.
Honestly, I don't think it was. I think it was just like if I give it to her, then what happens?
I
As opposed to, oh no, I don't think she actually loves me. Because I feel like that was
think
the moment he used his brain, the small 5% he could muster
small
out to use.
5%.
Because he was just smiling. I think he just really hits him like, okay, if I give her, and then what? Like, what happens to my life? But if I give it to Chairwoman Park, it's like I could get something, or because
So
really and truly, Eunice was not going to. She just said it. She didn't mean it.
so that brings up I think the big conflict of the entire season. And you mentioned this, Ebube, self-actualization with risk versus following the well-trod path without being true to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? The self-actualization for our boy Austin would have been to not to be okay with the unknown of Eunice loving him or not. Follow his true ideals and also leave Ashley, because remember he was trying to leave her before he got on that flight.
His mom wanted him to as well.
Unlike season 1, where both conflict folks reach
Amy
that
and Danny.
self-actualization. Yep. In this season, the only person that reaches that is Josh. Despite going to prison,
the only person who gets closure. Yeah.
He gets closure and he is at peace with himself.
Would you say that Ash gets closure?
No. I don't think so. Ashley and Austin are not at peace with themselves at the end.
Yeah.
They are in the exact same position that Josh and Lindsay were in.
True.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
But that is the conflict at the heart of this season, which is the self-actualization might come at very high cost to you, right? You might not make it in the society we live in if you choose to follow that. But do you choose to follow it now and take the cost, or do you choose to keep delaying and until the cost becomes too high?
Yeah. It's a
Let
fair
me just
question.
say this now regarding this show. This discussion is lovely. But you see how we're really thinking and you're putting all of this together. When you watch this show, all of these doesn't come to mind. It's when you really sit with it, you're like, oh, cool, hey. But when you're watching it, it just felt like they were trying to do so much at the same time. In season 1, they were trying to do a lot, but it was controlled.
You mean narratively?
Kind of
like in terms of structure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just like, because I didn't know Whoosh was going to die. Like, why is Whoosh dying?
Whoosh is dead. I think
Chairwoman Park didn't want it to get out.
I know, but then it's
power.
like it just seemed like out of left field for us to see something like this happening in season 2.
In a way, because the show, one thing that Lee Sung-jin does that's so amazing to me with the way the show is written is that you have it's comedy and there's like cringe humor and then there's drama. You can tell where all the conflict is, but there's a certain point where things just get really, really serious.
Real.
Like there's a switch where there's just a tonal shift. And I think in season 2, that moment is Whoosh's death. That's when you're like, oh, okay, so this is the kind of show we're watching, Yeah,
but it still didn't.
And it also tells you how cold Chairwoman Park is.
I could already tell. That's my point. So I just feel like they were throwing a lot into the show. Like some things really didn't sit for so long, because even before he died, she even in that conversation, you have your dad's eyes, and then she kisses the eyes and everything. You're like, oh wow, that's really twisted. That's actually so twisted. You see,
like
she's cold. You see, okay, she's plotting, and then he leaves, and then all of a sudden he dies. That's even one. There's like multiple layers of like there's the whole thing with Lindsay and her trying to figure out, okay, is she okay with aging? Trying to get
the commodification of aging anxiety.
Yeah, and then there's the whole thing with like obviously social class. There's the whole thing with love and relationship. Like love was a very heavy plot in this season, but then it's just so scattered because we see love that isn't healthy. We see like sacrificial love. We see lost love. Chairwoman Park, because obviously we see her at the end, literally at her first lover's grave. But then when it started, you really didn't feel the magnitude of her love for her first husband, because the presence of this second husband and then her asking him the question, oh, do you even love me? It's like, oh, but do you love him? So it's like, it's a lot
Yeah.
of
Or are you
things
just
that they were
using him?
trying to point out in season 2, but I feel like they didn't let it breathe. It was just like so congested. But season 1, in the chaos of it all, at least like it was controlled. So yeah, we're talking about all of these things because we can easily dissect now. But when you're watching it episode through episode, it's like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. What is happening? That's how
So
I felt. That's why I feel season 1 was better.
I think season 2 is better because of the way in which it handles some of those topics. I agree with you that the structure is a little bit different, right? We're dealing with way more characters
And it's
now
a shorter season
in
as
this.
well.
A shorter season, 2 less episodes. So I could see,
season 1 had
Season
10
1 was
episodes,
10?
season 2 had 8.
yeah, season 1 was 10. This was 8. Although I think that episode where they were in the wilderness dragged on a bit, but that's just me. But why I like season 2 is because a lot of the themes that it is hitting on are very core to what it means to be someone alive today in this world that we're in. And yeah, it's hitting it in different ways all at the same time. I agree with you. But sometimes with a show, sometimes you just let it wash over you. And just like, oh, that's wild. Oh, that's wild. Oh, that's wild. And then you sit and you think about it. You're right in that there's so many things you can't grasp immediately you're watching it. But I think the experience of the show afterwards, when you think about it, hits a lot harder for me than season 1.
Fair enough. I mean, I agree, but I like things to breathe.
Yeah. Let's blame it
especially
on
with
the
the
8
magnitude
episodes.
of that's what literally I was about to say. I would let it slide because it was 8 episodes. I thought season 1 was also 8 episodes, but I feel like they were trying to say things or point to. He was trying to say, like, tell us something and point to something so profound. But when you're watching it could easily just slide.
Yeah, you could
Like, we're
easily
like,
miss
okay,
it.
that was cool. Yeah, she's looking at herself and she's editing her picture on Facetune to send to. Even the fact, because I don't think they even touched on her infidelity, because she never really cheated, but she was always trying to like chase attention from these
I think that was
random
part
guys.
of the point, though. The fact that, she had this thing that was driving her, whereas we, the audience, knew that she's not as integral as she claims to be. She doesn't have that level of moral standing that she's pretending to have. And you can even see a little bit of that when she's trying to win the divorce and she forms this alliance with Ashley. That was like just a funny pocket of the show to me, because like, okay, you guys are besties now. Is that what this is?
And then also, can we talk about the biological warfare in this show, man? Like, oh my God, bro. Like, period in the orange juice.
In the orange juice.
God.
Toilet.
I love how the show kept playing with my emotions.
The
show kept playing with my emotions because like, okay, yeah, he's not going to drink it. Is he going to drink it? Okay, he's not going to drink it. And then he pours it away. I'm like, oh, okay. Then he collects the jug,
like,
and
cool.
I'm just like,
he took the jug.
He drank it. Drank the whole thing, man.
No, I was disgusted.
Yo, biological warfare in this show, man.
It's literal chemical warfare. I don't even know. And so, like, on the topic of warfare, right? I have to ask you guys, is it fair? Like, is it accurate to say that the younger couple were just a wrecking ball that ruined the older couple's lives? Or does that absolve Josh and Lindsay too much?
I think it absolves them too much. I think they were headed to disaster anyway.
Yeah. But they were shot the cherry on top, can't lie. Like, they would have gotten there eventually, but it's like they kickstarted, like, not kickstart, but they took them to where they were eventually going to get to. Because I'm like, they were having a fight. Maybe it was an intense fight, but couples fight. Next thing you know, two young people are recording them and threatening them with the video on top of our fight in their own property. Oh, should we call the cops, bro?
But it's so funny to see how sanctimonious Ashley and Austin were at the beginning after witnessing the fight. Oh my God. Wow.
That could never be us.
That could never be us.
I can't like Ashley pissed me off.
I'm telling you, she was looking the villain.
That's your biggest up in this show.
She was such a silly goose. I'm like, girl, like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, because
a lifetime of abandonment issues will do that to you.
Exactly. And you see the visions of like everybody thinking about what they could be or what they should be, right? And it's all
or what
foreshadowing.
They shouldn't be as well.
True, exactly. And like all four of the main characters, right? They have these little visions where they see themselves in the people they're talking to, right? So for Josh, it's, the husband of the couple at the end when they're in Korea who's being bossed around by his wife, right? He's like, is that my future? Which it turns out that it is, right? Because he ends up not ever truly standing up for himself in any significant way. Ash sees herself in that air hostess and then starts to push. She's like, oh yeah, no, this is what I wanted. No, I wanted that instead. But then Josh, right? He sees himself in Troy, whom he doesn't even like that.
I must have missed that one. When did that happen?
It happened when he came to his office to ask him for something, and they're standing at the door and he's looking at him and then they're talking and then, he says something to Troy and then the person that responds is himself, right? And Josh sees himself in multiple places. There's even a time where he's looking at, a picture of him and Lindsay and then he sees the picture instead of as him and himself, thinking about what maybe would have happened or what life could have been if he didn't meet Lindsay. He's just showing that he subconsciously blames her for the lack of achievement of some of his dreams. And Lindsay herself sees herself in the ladies who have actually embraced country club life. When she's dragging away all that stuff that Chairman Park wants to throw away. Like she suddenly has like, the high ponytail and she's wearing like, the athleisure and all that stuff is telling you like, okay, is this the life that they truly want? And it's hard to say, right? But the fact that, Josh and Ashley were kind of seeing themselves in people who were serving them or that they were supposed to be serving is, I think that's the show's, sort of subtle way of mirroring their arcs as well. Because all this back and forth between them and she's actually slowly becoming him and she's learning from him how to be him. So when she eventually becomes him, it's pretty funny, and it shows this like circle of life in a way.
Do you see that? How does that? I guess the question is, like Josh's Buffo realization, where he turns into every woman he's been with, then he turns into Lindsay, then he turns into himself, his mom. Then his mom tells him, you don't have to do everything. I think that's where he finally reaches his self-realization. Do you think that's part of that storytelling device as well?
I think it is a little bit, because it's having him cycle through everyone that is supposed to be dear to him until he eventually lands on, himself. And he's trying to understand exactly where he should be putting his attention. And he doesn't know what to prioritize in life because all he's thinking about is getting ahead. And the problem with trying to serve a future that doesn't exist is that that's what it will always be, a future will just never exist. You're chasing a carrot on a stick on a treadmill. You're never actually moving forward. He thinks he's moving forward. He thinks he's getting ahead, but he isn't, because he's not really investing in anything that particularly matters, I think. At least that was my take from it. And, that actually brings me to another major motif of the season, which is children. It makes sense that children are so important to this season in a story arc that is so concerned with establishment and legacy. Ashley and Austin are talking about children. They're thinking about the future in that way. Lindsay wants a child because she believes she should have one. Josh is barely thinking about that, but he's also thinking about the legacy. But that's funny, right? Because in a way, the club is his baby. And all of that gets taken from him. right?
I don't think he really wanted kids with Lindsay.
I don't think so either.
I don't think Lindsay wanted kids.
She just thought she should have one. Yeah.
Yeah, she just thought at this point, next step.
Because even at the end, where is she? In the bathroom, hiding
and her child
from
is looking for
her
so-called child.
Girl.
Watching Josh on the news.
Oh my
God.
News is like,
everybody's in bondage in this show. I'm telling you.
Except Josh. Except Josh. Josh has, ironically, by going to prison, Josh freed himself from that bondage.
Yep. Everybody should go to prison.
Yo, just a little stint, man. Just a little stint.
He was flourishing
in prison,
and he was still serving people. Like he was still trying to make sure.
No, but I think he actually does get fulfillment from being the guy who gets people what they need.
Yeah,
but
he does.
The gift God gave him is hospitality.
Exactly. But unlike at the club, the prisoners actually saw him as an equal.
Yeah.
As opposed to the club where they just saw him
which is part of why he got that fulfillment in prison, because it was now a reciprocal relationship.
Reciprocated, right?
Exactly.
So
and it's funny, right? Because the event at the club that sort of bookends the season, that they're having, where Josh is talking and then at the end is actually just talking, and, it's actually themed after 4 seasons, right? It starts with winter and then it goes into spring, then summer, then fall. Like we see the winter with the ice and the ants, by the way. And
the ants.
Yeah. And, Ash and Austin, obviously we've said they literally become Josh and Lindsay, with Troy, by the way, still dressing in the same stupid way. But,
I hate that guy, man.
Bruh.
I'm amigo.
It's oh my God. Every single time he said it.
What up, brother? How far, amigo? Man,
Josh started. Honestly, okay, Ashley and Austin, they had all these ideals and ideas about how the world works, which was informed only by their youthful ignorance. But obviously, look at where they ended up after life showed them,
give them that choice of are you going to stick by those ideals you claim to have, or are you going to follow
and that's
the
a question the show is
path?
asking, right? We see that as well at the end, because the show could have kind of, forgiven us and just been merciful in a sense, but it wasn't, because we could have had the version of events where the version of events that occurred before that timescape. Right? We could have held on to that hope. Lindsay is running towards Josh saying, I love you. Ash is talking to the police. Austin is trying to understand how he got where he got, and we've established though, this season is about how relationships change, right? So the show was never going to just end there. It had to show us that 8-year timescape to be like, okay, what ideals would you actually hold on to when the only thing left for you truly is yourself? Like Josh goes to prison, all he now has is himself. There's no Lindsay anymore. She's like, oh, I'll wait for you. And I was like, oh, brother.
She didn't wait. She didn't wait at all.
She did not
brother.
Wait.
Looking at the age of that child that she has, she did not wait.
It was next year.
It was the next year.
It was the next year.
It was the next year.
Wait
but
a
honestly,
minute.
I am happy she didn't wait. Let Josh be free, man. Free that man, man.
True.
Free that man.
Oh
Let
my
him be
God.
free.
It's so funny because even Austin, right? Like the way that he's supporting Ash and they're, he's driving that car at the end after the event is literally the exact same scene. Troy asking to be squeezed into the back 9. And, it just reminds me of Parasite, right? Because you watch Parasite up to a certain point and it's like, okay, this is where it ends. And it's like, if it was a Hollywood movie or maybe even a cartoon, he's going to get rich and he's going to actually get his dad out of that house. But that is not how life works. And Parasite makes sure you know that. And I think this second season of Beef does the same thing. It's
absolutely.
No, if there's going to be a happy ending, you have to find it yourself. Like that's kind
you
of
have to
what
be
the show is
willing
saying.
to sacrifice the safety
Yes.
to
Yeah.
find that happy ending.
You need to be willing to do the work. And throughout the season, Josh and Lindsay were not truly willing to do the work. They were just trying to get ahead.
Whatsoever.
I think the real lesson is you should take some buffo and free your mind. That's the real
Is it
lesson.
the buffo that freed his mind?
I think it was. Because after the buffo was when he went to Lindsay and was like, hey, you can do the divorce, no problem. You know, like after the buffo was when he really started to free stuff, you know?
Yeah, promoting buffo. On Spotify, wherever we are.
Yo. Hey man, I've never tried buffo. I don't know anything about buffo. I'm just talking about the show. But it just seemed like, because even in season 1, they ate those poisonous berries and they had a mystical experience.
There's always like some kind of high, actually. Like, wait a minute.
Yes. I mean, you know, to be very scientific here, psychedelics have been very studied in therapeutic context for breaking very, very entrenched ways of thinking. I'm not even. This is not even me being.
No, trust me. That's why. That's how they were doing. That's how they were doing LSD in Mad Men. For crying out loud.
No, this is real. This is like real look up, like, you know, psychedelic therapy. It's something that they're really looking into, especially for treatment of very resistant PTSD, depression, mood disorders.
My thing is,
but just taking
when
it
my
like
guy was doing buffo, he was not looking for a breakthrough.
No, and the difference is it's not in real life. It's not being administered by people who are learning from ChatGPT. Just to be fair,
not at all. Telling you, just do one more. I say, yeah, this guy will lose his mind.
And when you now even look up what buffo is, it's like,
you can actually die. You
can literally die. Like, I thought that was where they were taking us to. I felt like he was going to die.
Honestly, but
when that guy showed up at the end to kill him, I was like, yeah. And this is what I was saying, right?
Woman Park does not play
that's
at
what I was
all.
saying, like, whoosh. Because she said it very calmly. It's like, okay, I guess we'll just have to go to plan B. And then you're thinking, what's plan B? And then there's a guy trying to hang Josh in his backyard. And I'm like, what do you mean?
It makes you think, man, how are rich people able to just get assassin just quick like that?
Assassins are expensive, bro.
It's only them that can afford it.
Like before Bush even went to his car, she had already lined up assassin.
She was like, get him.
It's so like, and she said goodbye and everything. And is this whole thing about the circle of life? Like, because obviously we've talked about it with the 4 main characters, but like with the side characters, you see it too, right? There's this cycle that the show is depicting in the 2nd season, I think. And it's meant to show us that certain things just go round and round in circles, and the show actually visually represents that in that final shot with the depiction of Samsara at the end.
Samsara, yeah.
And you know, obviously Samsara is traditionally fueled by karma, which, like, you know, what goes around comes around. Everybody's actions affects everybody else. And with the Koreans, they were kind of in their own prison too, right? We look at, you know, Cheoman Park's husband, the plastic surgeon who is played by Song Kang-ho, who is also in Parasite. And you know, the performance was interesting because you can tell that these people have even less of a relationship than the Americans, right?
Yeah, than the other couples.
Like there's nothing going on there. And then you have Eunice, who actually has all these different things going for her, and is now in this job where she's an assistant who's probably making like 200 grand a year. But chai is real. You know, this is real chai. Because I saw her, I was just like, oh wow, okay, interesting, no problem. So she's handling all this stuff. You know, they're taking these flights, they're enjoying themselves, and in the end, Chairwoman Park is just not fulfilled. Like, she comes and she buys this club mainly for money laundering. Like, that's the main reason she buys it, as far as I can tell. And it doesn't even end up working for her the way she thinks it would. In the end, like, she's at the grave of, like, you know, I don't even know which husband was she at the grave of, the new one or the old one?
The first one.
Yeah. She didn't care about the new guy. He was just there. She cared about him a little bit. She tried to. She cared about the idea of him. But
She wanted to do life with him, but not love him.
yeah, she wanted a companion.
That's what they said.
AJ
She
Bars.
wanted a companion, yeah. She wanted a companion.
She really wanted a companion.
But not
Unfortunately, that wasn't
him as the companion.
Yeah, I mean, those characters were very interesting to me. I mean, like I said, even Eunice, right? Like, I think Eunice may have been the most dynamic side character because as the story progressed, it's like this. It's not, I wouldn't even call it a facade because I think she really was what she presented. But all these different layers of her just kept getting peeled off. And you can see, oh, this is what this girl looks like when she's afraid. It's like, she's like, okay, bro, this lady is going to kill me. And it's funny to me that she runs to Austin because Austin has showed himself as a capable person as an act.
And Eunice has bought that sad part. That's the sad part. Because now what's going to happen to Eunice? Like, she's dead. It's over.
But when they catch her, because they will catch her.
They're going to give her the old Chairman Park special.
Oh my God, bro. It's so wild. She has all this stuff that she now has to answer for because it's like she backed the wrong horse in a sense. And Chairman Park is...
the wrong guess. Because from her point of view, he seemed like a stand-up person. But as you said, everything he did was a lie.
Yeah, he had no power.
Not just no power.
She clearly wanted him
no
too.
No ideals, no backbone.
Yeah, it's funny because Eunice was ready to steal him from Ashley Loki. And so you can say
honestly,
that Ashley...
as she should have.
I think Eunice just wanted a good time, though. It wasn't a type of, I want Austin
I think in a way,
the rest of my life.
She probably saw him as like slightly beneath her. But maybe not in a way that maybe not in a way that she would even have admitted to herself. Like she probably saw that subconsciously.
Impression?
I don't know, just in the sense that like, I mean, towards the end, when the seam started to unravel, when it's just like, oh, okay, like this guy is actually, he's maybe not as strong. But then at the same time, she's gravitating towards him. She's saying, oh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad that like I have you with this. But like she's looking at that personal training aspect of him, especially when they were still in the US. And as much as she was enjoying it, there's a part of me that wonders if she thought that he might be beneath her because she saw him as something easy, something that she could essentially just acquire because she was well positioned to acquire it. It's like she looked at Ashley and she's like, oh yeah, like this is not competition.
No competition at all. It was also, he was easy for her to get. And she could control him. Because even when they were doing the Kiniko, like their first session together, you could just literally see how she was literally dominating him.
The guy was looking at her like, wait, so you can bend like this? Please say when. I need to.
Please say when. I'm like, you're such a loser. You will not stand up. Please say when. Okay.
He did not want her to say when. No, he wanted her to keep going.
Oh my God! Like, I will say though, like as far as setting is concerned, amazing set pieces, amazing set design. Everyone who worked on this show did an amazing job. They did such a fantastic job of making each location feel different, especially when it came to making Korea and those scenes feel unique. Like that place really had its own aura. It was interesting to me because the use of color was welcome, and it was implemented in a way that was truly effective. Like the Korea scenes felt very blue. You could feel that even though everything was huge, the characters were even more trapped because obviously this was the climax of the story. And it reminds me of the ants, right? That I mentioned before.
Yeah,
a very interesting motif.
How that
when you Google Beef season 2, ants actually run across the screen as like as part of a special
I need
Google
to
Doodle.
check this right now.
And
is this on Google?
Yeah, it's on Google. And I thought that was so funny.
I'm not seeing. Oh, whoa!
Whoa!
It's actually a jump scare. Like they did it so well. You actually feel like there are real ants running across your computer screen.
Oh, really small as I'm about to.
And those are the same ants, obviously, that were on the ground at the beginning and at the end when
also
Austin
in
is
Chairwoman
walking
Park's fruit bowl. I
in the fruit
noticed
bowl
an
too.
ant
You
there.
can see that they're
Those
there.
ants.
There's like this idea of ants, just worker ants trying to get by, just on this, preset trajectory where they can't really change anything and they don't have any power and they could just easily get crushed. The characters in different ways throughout the season feel that way. And, it's interesting to me that the ants are, representative of that, especially in a show where every season we have these beautifully poetic and artistic titles and we have, the art that we see behind those titles. Those title cards are amazing. Like, it's like you can tell all the work that went into this. And I would say, comparing season 1 and 2, right? I'd say season 2 actually is a lot more emotional, right? I think that's fair to say because you even feel that in the musical backdrop. Finneas, actually, who appears in the show as himself, did the score for this show. And
interesting.
He is very interesting in the way he works. Yeah, because he loves taking sounds that exist in real life and just, warping them in the weirdest ways to make very interesting music. And
was there anything you caught specifically?
There is this riff that's like very emotional that he uses with different instruments. At some point, he's kind of like driving it with the synth. And there's another point where like it's just this simple piano melody. It's like, okay.
Well, about to open Pandora's box, so
it's okay. I know my guy. I know.
Wait, hold on. Wait. It just happened to be there. I don't know. I can't start singing it.
It was right there. That's the funny part. It was right there.
This is my
just
house.
Waiting. Please serenade us. Oh la la.
Is this thing that goes like?
Oh yeah. Okay, now you add this Serena to relax.
That's exactly. There's no Serena. That's exactly how it went. Look, I studied this.
No way.
Let me rest. My point is,
but
that particular
I know
riff,
that riff.
He uses it to really draw on the emotion of like the relational connection between these people, right?
Yeah.
Because in a way, I start to see it as Josh and Lindsay's theme. And it plays throughout the season. We start to hear it a little bit when Ashley and Austin are involved too. And it's different because season 2 has all these emotional notes and season 1 was actually a lot more percussive, right? Because there was so much rising action all the time. Like there was so much mayhem happening in season 1, right? Because as opposed to that percussive feeling, season 2 then ends up feeling more pensive. But what's funny is that the final episode of season 2 is very percussive during the action sequences. Yeah. And you get to feel that sense of dread, but also that sense of like, adrenaline that's coming. And Finneas actually said that he wanted, those scenes in season 2, episode 8 to feel like a rave, right? That emotional through line that comes through.
Worst rave ever.
Definitely. They're throwing around body parts. But anyway, that emotional through line that comes through with that riff is very interesting to me because it kind of ties it together. Is the kind of artistry, honestly, that I'm used to seeing more in stuff like Show Them Camp songs. But yeah, it's very well done. And I love the use of instrumentation in the season. I think it's really, really good. But I guess.
But you said season 2 is more emotional than season 1. I think
it feels a little bit. I think it's a little bit more pensive and emotional, at least as far as the music is concerned.
I would say it's more so like the undertone of season 2, but in season 1, I low-key feel it's right in your face. Because also. I did not like most of the characters in season 2, so let me actually.
The season 2
no one was meant to be.
Yeah.
No one
the
was
season
meant
2 characters were very unlikable.
I didn't like. Is it like Amy? Was that the baby in season 1? I didn't like
Amy.
her. It was like I could feel for her. Ashley, nothing do me. She will be all right.
Ashley was a real problem.
Like, all of them
That's your
Like for
biggest
season one,
up,
I'm like,
man. That's your biggest up, Ashley.
Honestly, I,
literally,
I have to
but
say
yeah,
though, like, again, comparing the two seasons, I feel like in a lot of ways you can say season 2 is stronger in a literary sense. But
yeah, I would
I
Absolutely.
really
The
agree
enjoyed
to
writers
watching
that.
were
season 1.
cooking.
Did they fully,
I've
yeah, did they fully
I've just like,
execute it?
because
No, but they were doing
yeah,
something.
because my experience was slightly
W-
different than most people who watch the show. Like, funny enough, we don't normally do like, we usually have a plan for what we're going to cover and everything, so we don't normally do stuff like requests, and sometimes random things will come up. But it was actually in the
Mhm.
comment section of one of the videos, somebody actually asked if we're going to talk about beef, and I looked at it and Bakali looked at it and we're just like, I don't know. I think he had seen the show. I hadn't seen any of it at all. But I said, okay, let me just check this out. So I watched season 2 and I was like, oh my God. Right? So then I went and watched season 1. So unlike most people who watch the show, I actually saw season 2 first. So season 1 is actually fresher in my memory. And I have to say, with season 2, as much as I enjoyed it, as much as I felt it was actually kind of tight, even though some things, like
Mhm.
AJ said, were a little bit wonky in their execution. Like, maybe it felt like some things were just convenient or whatever, or like the Whoosh's death thing was very sudden. I still thought they worked. But then season 1, just the pacing of it just worked so well for me. Like every moment, like I started watching season 1. I wasn't even ready to truly begin and like actually just pay attention.
You just
I had some
lock
free
in.
time. I just put it on. Before I knew it, I was on episode 5. I'm not even joking. Like I watched the first 5
Yeah.
episodes basically in one sitting. Like season 1
Wow.
was such
So
an
season 1
enjoyable
drew
viewing.
you in quicker, you
I
would
think
say.
season 1 may have drawn me in because I was also very curious, right? Because I had seen 3 years ago when the show came out that snippet of season 1 of episode 1 of season 1 at the end where he goes into the bathroom and then she chases him through the streets, and I was like, what is this
Yeah.
insane show?
It was
Right?
so
So
thrilling. It was
yeah,
like,
so going in and seeing that
especially
there was this
Netflix.
real like energy of like what could happen, what may not happen. And like I just watched season 1 thinking, wow, man, like in a different life, if these people would just talk, like Amy and Danny they'd be such an unstoppable team. Like
Yeah,
they would actually do so well together, but instead they're here
together.
fighting.
Yeah. And
and,
honestly,
and then there's
I would
Paul.
also say like season 2 was just, like the way of the world right now. Let's tell a story so profound, let's in most ways honestly be pretentious, and the whole like, I don't know, but season 1, it was literally road rage. But then there's the whole gravity behind, like the class, and then also like she married this particular guy that wasn't really happy in her marriage, and then the difference between him and his brother, and then like you pointed to like community and then religion, like it was still a lot going on, but it's like, for lack of a better term, it was still down to earth. Season 2, they were doing too much with the whole, oh my God, Gen Z, oh my God.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah,
I
they
hear
were
you.
like that. But then, I can't lie, they did an amazing job. The writers, they, put that back into it. It was amazing. It's
The
excellent
directing
work.
was also great in both seasons.
Yeah. And I love the fonts. I feel anywhere he writes his name, he should use that font. That is
Yeah,
such an excellent font for his
it
name.
is.
Yeah.
I wish I knew more about art history to understand the significance of the paintings that they use
Yeah.
at the
That,
start
It
of
was
each
so
episode.
fascinating.
It really is. So maybe if that's, if you know anyone, any of the folks on that are listening, in the comments, if you know that, please, we'd love to see it if you know about art history, because there's got to be some significance, because it feels some of those paintings are very specific.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. I think this show was great. Like I barely watch Netflix shows anymore, but
Yeah,
I
this
cancelled
likewise.
my
one, like I
Netflix
remember watching this
subscription.
thinking, bro, this is on
Don't
Netflix.
say that.
Literally, I had to beg, and the person I begged had the Netflix with the ads. I'm like, oh, y'all are really suffering out here.
It's
Bruh.
wild that that's a thing.
Don't get me started on
Honestly,
those people, man. I don't even. I'm
the
trying
one
to.
that pisses me off is Prime TV.
Oh,
And let me even
Amazon.
come for them while I have like this remaining 2 minutes. After making us get Prime, for shows like The Boys, you guys do not disappoint us like that. What was that about? Like, you guys have insulted me, and now I'm watching Prime. I'm watching the episodes. You're putting 5 ads into one episode, telling me it's even like below my screen. I'm seeing actual links to the products.
You
What
tell
in the
them,
name of
AJ.
capitalism? Like,
As
it's not even
in,
fun. I might as well go back to cable because apparently
Might
there's
as
good
well.
stuff on there.
might as well.
Man,
Might
It's
as well.
unfair.
it's a wild, wild world. It's tiring. I can't with these people, but at the very least, this show was good and I'm impressed by it. I just have to admit that I'm impressed by it. It's one of those things where it's just like, you know, that kind of thing where like your up, like actually did something that made sense and you can't help but clap.
Yeah.
It's
It's like if I
moments.
actually
Real.
did something good.
It's like,
Oh my
okay,
God,
he's
okay,
out of
so
line, but he's
Netflix,
right.
but they also have Train Dreams, which I
Mhm.
think is like a really excellent movie.
Oh, I
and
heard
it's a
about that.
Netflix movie.
I heard
So
about that.
they have their things, but I don't just before they cancel popcorn for dinner. And I love you, Netflix. Let me end there.
Honestly, I think everybody has their A game out this year so far. I think we're still going to see a lot of amazing stuff. HBO is preparing for its own big year. Obviously, they've had a huge hit with The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, House of the Dragon season 3 is coming soon. You'll be seeing some of us very soon regarding that because
God.
there are plans in place. But I think even Apple shows are just, I really like them. I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, even with the return of Your Friends and Neighbors, which, you know, I also have thoughts on. Stay tuned, I guess. But they're trying new things, and I like that everybody's, you know, I think storytelling is seeing a little bit of a renaissance, and I feel like it's happening in a world where like people are getting tired of everything being so like artificial. Like right now, we're living in a landscape where people are really tired of the effects of generative AI, and you know, people want something that feels real. And if there's anything that can be said for both seasons of Beef, is that they felt very real. Like, it's crazy. Like, I kid you not, one of the biggest moments where I was laughing was just that scene in season 1 where Danny ends up leading worship.
Yeah.
Oh
What's
my
his
God,
name?
bro.
I feel he's also very excellent. I'm forgetting his real name.
Stephen Yeun. He's
Stephen
Yes,
Yeun.
Yeun
great
is
in
excellent.
everything.
He
Like,
is
people don't even
so
know. Like,
great.
that's the voice of Invincible.
Yes.
Yeah. When I found out, I'm like, wait a
he's
minute,
so
this guy's
good.
employed.
He's
Yeah, he
very
stays
employed.
keeping a
employed.
job, man. Unlike
The
his
guy's booked
character,
and
he
busy.
stays with a job.
Oh my
Whoa.
God. It's really nice. It's really nice. But yeah, I think that's probably a good place to call it. Thank you all for listening up until this point. Thank you for sticking with us all through the spring season, and for the fact that you're going to stay around for the summer season, which is going to be even better. Thank you, AJ and Soonen, for coming and discussing Beef with me. This show really surprised me in the best way. It deserves all the accolades. I really hope they win more Emmys. Shout out Charles
for this
Melton.
season?
Shout out Kaylee Spaney. I mean,
Yes, for this season.
yes, for this season, AJ. Okay, we've just discussed. You know, we need to let things go.
Let's let this
Did you
go.
learn nothing from the show?
Mr. Lee will find me. Maybe the next season 3 of the Beef will be like him and me. Because apparently all of his stories are based off of things he's experienced in real life.
Yeah,
so.
a reviewer and a TV writer.
A TV writer.
That'll
Bruh.
be interesting.
Yeah, I would watch that show, and then it's great because then we'd have somebody from the cast to come and talk about the show with us. 'Cause we're moving up in the world. Love it.
Amen.
But yeah, I guess until next time, try to forgive your neighbors. Bye.